Welcome to another episode of Off the Blog. Today we are talking about practicing Aparigraha and minimalism during the holiday season. Consider this a yogi's path to less stress and more joy during the holidays. With the holiday season upon us, it is super easy to feel overwhelmed with consumer culture. Black Friday just passed, and the amount of emails and last calls for this sale or exclusive access to that sale, plus the fact that we're a couple weeks away from Boxing Day and holiday shopping lists are probably still lingering in your brain. All of this can lead to an added sense of stress, anxiety, and almost this feeling of never having enough or never enough time, never enough space in a day to get everything done. Just a general feeling of never enough. However, this is where our yoga practice can be really helpful. And I hear from many people, especially this time of year, that they're unable to get to their yoga practice. And what they typically mean by that is they don't have as much time to get to the actual studio and practice physical yoga with a teacher in a class environment. However, the purpose of these blog posts is to give you insight into how you can apply yoga off the mat. And I'm a big believer in yoga being training for real life. And there is lessons that we can learn on the mat and apply them off the mat. And truly, I believe this is the journey of a yoga student to move beyond just the yoga class environment and find ways to practice yoga, mindfulness, and presence in their everyday lives. The yamas and the niyamas give us an amazing framework for how to do exactly that. So this is the fifth yama that I am sharing about. It's the first one that I'm talking about in a podcast form. And if you want to read the other yamas, you can go to my website, joffreyyoga.com/blog, filter by yoga philosophy, and you will see all 5 yamas written about there. And I like to write them with a really practical, applicable kind of process where you can read it and apply it in your daily life almost immediately. So they're pretty simple to read. They're quite easy to execute. I would definitely encourage checking those out. But let's get a little bit more into Aparigraha. Aparigraha is a yogic principle that encourages non-attachment, and blending it with a minimalist lifestyle. I really like this because the two are quite similar. We can create a holiday season that feels a bit more peaceful, more intentional, and focused on what truly matters for you. Parigraha is one of the 5 yamas in Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. And it's important to know that Patanjali's sutras and his 8-limbed path are not the only yoga philosophy that exists out there. There are many different lineages, many different paths. Some have less limbs, some have more limbs, some are different. There's a lot of room for interpretation, for curiosity, for exploration. And I think what I love about how Patanjali organized it is it's pretty straightforward and really applicable, especially in our modern day and age with the way life is. I find Patanjali's sutras and his 8-limbed path to be really simple to follow. And it's what I'm trained in. It's what many yoga teachers here in the West are trained in. And, um, and I think it's really powerful and beneficial. So, as I mentioned, Aparigraha is one of the 5 yamas in Patanjali Sutras, and it talks to us about the practice of letting go of excess. Now, excess, that means both mentally and physically. So it's not just clearing out the stuff around you and this within your physical space. We can also have excess thoughts. Parigraha can teach us to release attachment to material things, but also to expectations and even outcomes. And what that can do for us is create a sense of inner freedom when we can let go of those things. And they're easier said than done, right? When we combine this with minimalism, it can really help us reduce our holiday stress and lower our levels of anxiety and depression by focusing on what truly brings us genuine joy. We live in a world where more is often equated with better. And the less is more philosophy, while it exists, it's not something that's communicated to us through mass marketing, especially during the holiday season. And so with this practice, with minimalism and Aparigraha at the center of it, it's going to give us a way to simplify and find greater peace and mental clarity. I'm not a big science guy, but I do know that there is research out there that speaks to clutter and excess contributing to stress and anxiety. And so while a minimalist lifestyle is going to help promote mental calm and reduce some of that overwhelm, Aparigraha and minimalism together are going to encourage us to really think about letting go of that extra in our lives, right? And that's going to hopefully help create a holiday season that's filled with more presence and less pressure. So I'm going to give you 5 ways here to practice Aparigraha and minimalism in an effort to bring about a calmer holiday season for you. And the first way to practice this is with mindful consumption. So when you feel pressure to maybe buy something or, cave in to one of those emails about their last chance at a 50% discount, take a moment to just pause and ask yourself, do I truly need this? And I know it sounds overly simplistic, but really giving yourself some space between actually hitting the button or clicking purchase to just think about that question is going to help you alleviate some financial stress. And maybe you realize that you really don't need what you were about to buy. So when you embrace mindful consumption, you will end up buying less. You'll end up reducing your credit card debt. And it also will bring a sense of gratitude towards all the things that you do have. And I think that's an amazing practice in itself, to look around and, write down or acknowledge all the things that you already have that you're super grateful for. Number 2 is minimalist gift giving. So I've seen firsthand through my experiences with Christmas, usually it's when I'm in a relationship with somebody who celebrates Christmas, I get the experience of Christmas. I didn't grow up with it. And I've just seen how there can be so much anxiety around giving enough and giving the perfect gift. And that in itself just creates so much stress and so much anxiety around this time of year where really I find all we want is just to be calm and chill. It's such a nice time of year to just cozy up and relax, but there's so many things that are working against us that create this sense of overwhelm. So the practice of Aparigraha and minimalism together might get us to shift our thought process, maybe giving an experience instead of an actual material gift. Maybe writing a handwritten note to say thank you to somebody who's made a big impact on your life recently. I've done this in the past, and I'll probably do it again this year, where I'll just write a list of people that I'm really grateful for. And if I have the time, I might write them a handwritten note or send them a message and just let them know, how they've impacted my life this past year. Find when you give gifts in this capacity, if you're arts and crafty too, and a do-it-yourself type of person, making a homemade gift really can add a lot of meaning and joy into your life and into that person's life that you're giving it to. Really think about how you can practice this minimalist gift giving and support not just your own mental well-being, but somebody else's mental well-being by maybe reducing their material overwhelm a little bit. Third way to practice is to declutter your space. The physical clutter of holiday decor or excess belongings can definitely add to your mental load. And this can easily contribute to stress and anxiety if the space around you doesn't represent a calm, peaceful environment. When you think about this philosophy and letting go of excess and what you maybe don't need, maybe there's an opportunity to look around and have a bit of a cleaner, clearer space in your home, right? So this decluttering process during the holidays can definitely help you create a bit more chill in your day-to-day and make it a little bit easier to focus on meaningful connections during the holiday season rather than the material items. The fourth way you can practice this during the holidays is to have some boundaries around social media, and that can also help reduce some of the comparison. Social media can definitely intensify these feelings of comparing and judgment as you see what other people might be doing and you think, oh man, maybe I got to do that. Especially during the holidays, everyone is sharing their celebrations, their decor, their holiday parties, the gifts that they're getting. This can just add to the pressures and the stress and the overwhelm of the season. So let this be a reminder to maybe set some boundaries, maybe be on social media less, right? And when we do that, we can practice a little bit of contentment. And contentment is one of the niyamas that we'll get into at some point in 2025. But for now, let Aparigraha kind of take its place in your social media world. Maybe if you're on social media a couple hours a day, you reduce it by maybe an hour or maybe by half an hour, or, create some new boundary around your consumption so that you can really invite that minimalist vibe into your day-to-day. I find with social media, the act of comparing kind of gets us into this place where we start to do things and celebrate in ways that really don't resonate with our authentic selves. We want to do things simply because we saw somebody else do it. So taking a break from social will definitely get you to really reflect on what it truly means for you to celebrate the holidays and do it in your own unique way. It doesn't matter what somebody else is doing. It's just like the yoga practice. What's moderate for you is not going to be what's moderate for them. So somebody might have to go a bit deeper to feel a moderate sensation, where maybe you can pull back a little bit and don't have to go as deep to feel a stretch. So there's no sense in comparing to other people. And just like in the yoga practice, comparing your body to somebody else's isn't going to make any sense. So trying to celebrate in a way that somebody else is celebrating also isn't going to make any sense, right? So find your own unique way, find your own path. The last way to practice during the holiday season, this sense of minimalistic approach, is presence over perfection. The holiday season can bring this urge for everything to be absolutely perfect, from your Christmas tree decorations to the meals that you're prepping to the people that you're hanging out with. I would suggest, or Aparigraha would suggest, to let go of these expectations. And minimalism will remind us to savor the simple, more meaningful moments, and realize that the quality time spent is really what's the most important. So these are my tips for reducing some of the stress of the holidays. I hope you found it helpful. I hope you find just listening to this reaffirms some of your own beliefs around how you want to approach the holidays. And I hope you feel empowered and encouraged to really make this your most peaceful, most calm holiday season yet. To wrap it all up, all of this is to say, try to slow down, simplify, and focus on what truly matters for you, right? By letting go of this excess, you're going to create the space for genuine joy in your life that is going to be free from the pressures of consumer culture. So try to bring this into the next couple of weeks. I hope you find this helpful. You can leave a comment down below to let me know what you think. And if you want to read the whole article and you want to read about the other yamas, again, check out my website, joffreyyoga.com/blog, and you can filter it by yoga philosophy, and you'll see all 5 yamas that I've written about. Thank you so much for being here and catching another episode of Off the Blog.